Well, hello there, dreamers. Where's my playmates at? How's everybody guys doing tonight? Welcome to Ford's Playground. Got a very cool show for you guys tonight. Hello. Thought we would get into the tale of two worlds, tale of two cities, tale of two worlds, and how to navigate your footing on this spiritual journey. How do you navigate the spiritual journey? Well, you do that by keeping one foot in the world and one foot out of the world, which can feel like you're losing your balance. And so today we're going to talk about that and how to maintain your balance between those two worlds. And by doing that, you kind of grab a hold of life a little bit. And by being mindful is how you make the navigation of your spiritual journey a pleasant one, just through being mindful. So we're going to get into all of that awesomeness. And so stick around here with me. Here we go. Hello. Got an awesome crowd in here tonight. Again, as always, you guys are amazing. Love to see you guys in here. So if you're new to the show and you're wondering why this musician is here talking to you about spirituality, it's because music and spirituality are one and the same thing. They are literally fractal elements of one another. And when you do music, these things become very apparent to you. And being someone like myself who's done music professionally for over 30 years, I started to see the correlation between music and spirituality, and ended up writing two books about it. And now I'm sharing all this information with you because it's completely changed my life in tremendous ways. And on top of that, I have another channel which is hugely successful called Phi Tribe. And we just hit 250,000 subscribers a couple days ago, which is amazing. So thank you all very much for all of the support over there. But a lot of what that channel does is provide frequency healing music. And a lot of people are having these really crazy out-of-body experiences and lucid dreams. And getting all of the thousands of messages about that, I felt compelled to provide an answer, at least a philosophical presentation of what that experience was, which is what this channel is about. So you go there for the experience, and then you come here to get the little backstory behind it, and to have someone kind of point and tell you why all that stuff is making you feel so amazing when you listen to it. Does it sound good to you guys? Boy, look at everybody in here. What an awesome crowd. It's fantastic. Awesome. So I was listening to Billy Carson this week over on Joe Rogan. I thought it was very cool. Let me know if the music's too loud or the microphone is not loud enough. Just let me know. And he's always fascinating to listen to. I love getting into all that stuff about the Enkis and Anunnaki and all that stuff, and all the ancient history stuff. It's always fun to think about, isn't it? But the history is kind of a trap, isn't it? If we're going to take the satsang serious, we'll say that relatively and loosely, since we're playing. But it's hard to reconcile ancient history and the vibe of satsang and Zen, right? They are completely incompatible. So how do we navigate that? You know, Billy Carson, he was talking about the Anunnaki, and getting into the Sumerian kings list, which spans 240,000 years, where each king was living like 20,000 years, 10,000 years, 12,000 years, and it spans the entire span of this 240,000 years. So, I mean, that is such an amazing thing to think about when you start thinking about time that way, and the depth of the history and the importance of relics that have managed to survive all of these years coming through. It's quite mind-blowing, and it gives you that wow factor. Wow, ancient history is pretty amazing, right? So what do we do with that in terms of satsang? Because we have history is kind of wrapped up into everything that we follow and everything we believe and everything we live by, right? No matter if you're into religion, no matter what religion you're into, they're very much caught in time, aren't they? Right? It's the story of Krishna, the story of the Buddha, it's the story of Jesus. It's all of these things are stories that are very much caught in time. The story of Enki. The Enki is the new one everyone's all going crazy for. which is all about UFO encounters in the Bible. And what I want to say to you is that these things are very, very popular and fun to think about, but to always remember where you are when you are in the living world, when you're in the material world here. Remember where you are by being mindful and being mindful of the fact that you're in the realm of the adversary who rules this realm, okay? And this adversary wants very much for you to be caught and lost in this world, which is a world of time and space. And through satsang, what I'm pointing to is the opposite of that. It's the inverse of that. What we're pointing to is something that is timeless and something that has no space. Well, what does that mean for it has no space? It means it's everywhere and it's nowhere at the same time, because it is space. And because it's infinite, it's all relative to that infinite nature. So because it's infinite, time is meaningless. It's the same thing as a very, very similar analogy as to when I point to having no free will. Yes, I have free will to move my glasses from here to here. Yes, there's free will. But in the scope of the way the mechanics of reality is, it's like being in the ocean. It's like it's being in the middle of the ocean and deciding that you want to swim somewhere, but there's no shore to swim to. No matter how far and how hard you swim, and no matter any direction, it's meaningless. It's meaningless. You might as well just float and become one with the water, because there's nowhere to go. And just like that, there's nowhere to go here. There's no escape. There's no escape. There's only mastery. There's only acceptance of where you are and mastery over it by controlling your mind, becoming mindful and not allowing yourself to get caught in these traps. And the biggest trap that everyone gets caught in, the one that gets everybody, this is the hardest one, this is the hardest trap of all of it, is time. You have to be willing to let go of time. You have to let it go. Time is what has you caught. And it throws all of the meaning of all of these stories completely out of whack, because the minute you start taking these very, very important stories, these are very important stories to our own self-development, our own growth of consciousness, but the minute you place them in time, it loses all the meaning. It loses every bit of meaning that it was supposed to show you. Because what these masters are pointing to is the timeless now. And unless you can grasp that, you're going to continuously get sucked into the matrix of reality. And you're going to continuously get taken on this ride. Here it is. You got something on your shirt, huh? How many times can I do that? You got something on your shirt. Oh. Back in history, back in time, in the future, 100 years ago, centuries ago, millennia a year ago, all of these things, the pyramids, thinking about them in terms of, are they 2,000 years old? Are they 6,000 years old? Are they 10,000 years old? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're not talking about history here. We're talking about his story. It's a story. It's your story. It's just a story. And the story is about you. It's fractal. Like it echoes. The story itself echoes. So yes, the story is talking about Krishna. The story is talking about Jesus. The story is talking about the Buddha. But it's also talking about you. Because their story is fractal, meaning it echoes. Their story echoes for eternity. And it echoes as your story. This is why this is why these are holy books. Because if you can understand their story in a timeless sense, you can begin to navigate your story, right? And that's what we're here to do. We're here to navigate our story. Boy, what an awesome crowd in here. You guys are amazing. If you have any questions, just type them in all capital letters, and then at the end, I'll go through and scroll through and find anything, and we'll talk about it. And don't feel like you have to keep it limited to what I'm talking about today. Just in the realm of spirituality, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. You guys are amazing. So what I want you to see is I want you to understand that two things are true at the same time. How can two things be true at the same time? Take a look at this diagram here, which is a cylinder. And from one angle, it looks like a square, which is true. And then from another angle, it looks like a circle, which is also true. There's two truths that are opposite of each other, at least seemingly so. Okay? And as that works with that picture, it's also true of the timeless now and the world of time. And you have to be the bridge between those two things. You are the bridge, but you have to realize this in yourself. Yes, happy 11/11, everyone. I love it. So you have a choice. We can be still and know and realize that there is no time. None at all. There's no history. There never was. There's no foundational plane. There is no earth. There never was. There's only dreaming, because we live in the mind. The mind is all there is. The mind is all there ever is, or ever was, or ever can be. There's only the mind, because the mind transcends space and time. Time and space are creations of the mind, and the mind is who you are. So in that sense, you are transcendent of time and space when you can identify with being the mind. So what does that mean, to identify with being the mind? Well, it begins with getting rid of time from your consciousness. And this is something you're going to have to do in stages. It's not like you can just dump time, because you'll keep coming back. And you also, the reason it keeps coming back is because we need time in our culture for practality's sake. You know, it's a tool. Always remember time as a tool. But the minute you start taking it literally and applying it to historical facts that stretch back and start contemplating the future, you're just playing with the mind. You're not actually taking a look at anything that is real about history. There is no history. There is no tomorrow. There is no yesterday. This is the power of belief. That's what the power of belief has convinced you of, that there's a tomorrow and there was a yesterday. But in truth, neither one ever happened or ever will happen. There's only this continuously blossoming flower of now that blossoms and unfolds forever. It has the illusion of time in it because there's movement, but because it's just a blossoming flower that just blossoms and unfolds, the petals just keep coming out forever. It has an infinite nature to it. So in that sense, time is irrelevant. And that's what you grab a hold of to bring your mind back to the center. Whatever the story that's being sold to you or presented to you as real, whatever it is, I don't care what the story is, if it's caught in time, it's a false ideology. Because you are the center. You are the Most High. In more ways than one. This is your dream, and you're in it right now, with the illusion of life. And it's just a dream. It's no different than the dreams that you have when you go to sleep. Your dreams might last only a second, 2 seconds, 1 second. But it feels like a whole thing is playing out, right? That's what it feels like. It feels so real, and there's people, and you know them, and there's a whole story, and there's a whole reason why you're robbing the bank, and there's all this stuff going on, right? It all makes perfect sense in the dream. And then at some point in the dream, things start not really making sense. Suddenly you're carrying an alligator, and then there's someone selling you cotton candy, and it starts to get very bizarre. And then the conscious mind goes, wait a minute, this isn't making any sense. This has to be a dream. And then you wake up out of it. Kind of like what the world is doing right now, this clown world where we're in. It's kind of becoming that in the dream, is it not? All this crazy clownness. The world is crazy. It doesn't even make sense. This is our collective awakening from the dream that we're calling now. It's just a dream. And it will soon come to a close, and a new dream will start. And that's the most beautiful part of this, is that the dreaming continues forever and forever. You're never not dreaming. You're always dreaming, because that's what the mind does. You exist forever. Call it your soul, call it whatever you want to call it, spirit. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Which is why you want to get kind of good at this, right? By learning this technique of disassociating yourself with time and space, it's kind of like learning how to ride the bull. You know, the bull's going and it throws you off, right? Has anybody ever ridden the bull at a bar? Give me a heart if you've ever ridden the bull at the bar or ridden a real bull. Send me green hearts if you've done the real bull. That's really special. But that's what you're doing every morning when you wake up and you decide that you're going to tackle the world out there. And then you're going for the ride of your life, right? And it's trying to shake you off. That's what it feels like sometimes. But all of that is an illusion. It's all illusion. None of that is real. It's no different than the dream that you had last night. Just a dream. Just a dream. And as this world becomes more crazy and weird, and all this insane stuff is happening, part of us is going to be saying to ourselves, wow, that's just a little bit weird. It almost starts to feel like a dream. Are we dreaming? Are we dreaming? And that's when the awakening happens. We have to get to that point, though, where nothing makes sense. And that's what we're experiencing right now. So I feel like we're getting very, very close to that. So navigating two worlds. We have Jesus who said, I am in the world, but I am not of the world. What do you think he means by that? He means he has one foot in the world, but he knows where he came from, which is not from the world. He's fully realizing that the world is a dream. The world is a dream. So it can't be where he came from. He's in the dream, playing with the dream, playing with time, playing with space, but always remembering the source of his awareness. And that's what you want to do. You want to realize the source of your awareness. Yeah. And you do that through mindfulness. It's going to take time, which is kind of ironic. I'd say it's very ironic. But in order to see what I'm saying to you, you can see it right now if you want to. You can just choose to see it. But most of us have these veils. We've got all these veils in front of us that prevent us from seeing the truth. We're unable to see it. We're blinded from the truth. And there's parts of the mind that refuse to let go of life. Your ego only lives in the dream. It's the only place the ego has life. Your shadow is the dream. Your shadow self is the dream that you're experiencing. And it's the only place it has life. So your ego and your shadow conspire to convince you that this is real, that it's all really happening. But none of it's happening. None of it. There's the experience of it happening. So is it happening? What constitutes real? What is real? As Morpheus famously said, what is real? Do your thoughts and actions constitute reality? When you robbed the bank in your dream, did you really rob the bank? You had the full experience of it. Breathing heavy, sweating, whatever that is, the stress of, are you going to get away? Are you not going to get away? When you're in a dream and you go to Paris and you can smell the flowers in the spring, did you really go to Paris? I don't know. Is there really a Paris? At what point does it end? At what point do we say this is real? It's very slippery slope, isn't it? So this is why you have to maintain this grip of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I say grip, and I should qualify that as a very, very loose grip. You don't want to be too tight with it. You want to play, right? When you're getting your footing and you're riding a skateboard or surfboard or whatever, you're using your balance. You're always shifting your balance back and forth to get your footing, right? It's all about getting that footing. And that's what you have to do with this, because you're going to be asked to play with time. You're going to be asked to play with space. Many of you still have to go to work. I go to work. I have deadlines, and you have deadlines, and maybe you have to meet this person here at this place, and maybe someone else you have to pick up at the airport at this time, right? So to live without time in the world is just too chaotic. But the trick is to be cognizant of it, to recognize that this is just a necessary quality to make the playground feel very real. And if you can remind yourself of what I'm telling you, which is there is no time, there is no space, there's only the dream that's happening right now. When you can fully realize that, now you're really playing. Now you can really, really, really play with all of this. Because you can loosen your grip, right? We take things so serious, right? We all take everything so serious. I've got goals and ambitions. And you notice that all these things that you're going for, that you think are going to make you happy, all of them are just outside of your reach. They might appear to be very, very close, right? I used to joke and say, someday I'm going to be dead and I'm going to have a hand on my grave that said, missed it by that much. It's before I realized the truth of the no. But it's always going to appear that way. It's always going to appear just out of reach. It's that toying. It's that teasing. It's like, you ever been to a dog race and the dogs are chasing that bunny rabbit? There's like a stuffed bunny rabbit on the end of a hook, and it goes around, and the dogs are chasing the rabbit that's on this mechanical sling. It's the same thing. It's toying you with, the adversary is toying you with your dreams and ambitions and goals and desires. The adversary, as Napoleon Hill tells us, does not come to you with red horns and a pitchfork. The adversary comes to you disguised as everything you've ever wanted. Satsang and Zen is about letting go of the wanting and exchanging wanting with playing. And there's a very subtle difference there, but that in that subtlety is where the freedom is. And this is what I'm trying to point to. I should say this is what I am pointing to, and I'm hoping y'all can see this. The truth is, there's only now. This is it. You're here. Listen to the sound of my voice and follow every word, and in doing so, you are completely here now. This message can only be conveyed in the now. This is why it feels good. When we come here, you guys come in and you guys feel like you're high a little bit. Feel like you've touched the hand of the divine, with your own mind, by recognizing the dream and the dreamlike qualities of the world. And suddenly you get a handle on life. You get a handle on it. And then what happens? You go to sleep and you wake up the next day, and then the details start coming in. It's this detail and that detail, and then I have to go do this, and I have to go do this. And then before you know it, you're fully sucked into the dream again. And what I'm saying is, by turning it into playing instead of doing, you're more loose with it. You're more loose with it. And because you're playing, it doesn't mean that you have to give up integrity. You're still integral. It's just your attitude about it changes. Exhale and let all that stress go, all that tension, all that, oh my God, I have to get this thing. I can't sleep at night unless I get this thing. I have to get the promotion. Whatever it is you think it is, whether it's getting married or getting divorced or getting a promotion or making lots of money or I don't know, whatever these escapes that we create for ourselves. Getting this new house. If I just had a house, I'd be happy. If I just had children, I'd be happy. It's all these things, right? They're blockades we put in front of ourselves to challenge ourselves. It's all part of the unfolding story. But your attitude changes when you play with it. When you play, you become a child, and you become innocent, and you become open to however the dream unfolds for you, without a feeling of needing to control the dream. You're simply writing the dream. You're writing the dream that is with total acceptance, and getting very good at navigating through it, dodging bullets, as Neo they would say for Neo, right? Just dodging bullets. And it's through time. This is how they get you. This is how they've totally ensnared you, because it's so fascinating when we start hearing Billy Carson talk about the history and Graham Hancock talk about all these amazing things. It gives it, the stories themselves that they tell give it a sense of patina. And for Americans aren't as familiar with patina as Europeans are. If you spend any time overseas in Europe, you get a very good sense of what patina is, which is just this worn down, how everything looks worn and damaged over eons of time. Every nick and every little scrape on a wall, or every wooden door with holes in it, or whatever it is over there, they have stories. You can just think about all the countless stories that went into that. So it's all of the little stories about this place that gives it the patina, gives it this age, it gives it this realness. Gives us this sense of it being very, very visceral and real, and something that you can connect with physically. And if you ever do a psychedelic experience, one of the things that you see is everything instantly looks new. That patina goes away. It's one of the first things to go away. Patina just goes whoosh, washes away, and everything kind of has a plastic look. Everything starts to look like plastic and shiny and new, which has good qualities and it has bad qualities. I personally like the patina. I love the history. I love the feeling of history. I love that feeling of you can go to Austria, and I was in Salzburg, and they have Mozart's house there. You can go visit the house that he lived in when he was in Salzburg. And it's a very, very modest home, very, very modest apartment, really. But the way the socialism works over there, the businesses don't really change hands. So if it's a bar or a restaurant, it's been passed down from family generation to family generation to family generation. So if it's a bar and a restaurant, it's always been a bar and a restaurant. So one of the coolest aspects of going to see the house of Mozart was he lived directly across the street from a pub. And in the pub, they serve food and they have drinks. And I got to sit at the table by the window looking up at his apartment. And I would think about, how many stories, how many times did he sit, maybe not at this very table, but in this spot, looking up at his own apartment. The history of that. It has a very appealing vibe to it, right? Makes everything feel real, and it gives you this huge feeling of appreciation, of wow, that's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. But in that, you have to snap back and find the bigger wow. There's a bigger wow in that. That as real as it seems, as undeniably real as all of this historical stuff seems, it's all fake. It's all fake. It's all the illusion of the dream. That's how real the dream can be, with endless details upon endless details. And you say, Ford, that's just impossible. No one could pull off a trick like that. It's just too many things. It's impossible. too much for God? Too much for the adversary, I should say? The father of all lies. Think it's too much for him? And again, the adversary is a force. I anthropomorphize it by, we call it the devil, and we call it Jesus Christ. But these are forces. Christ is a force in you. It is a force of awareness and wakefulness of the present moment. It's to realize who and what you are, where you are at all times, and conversely, to forget who you are, and lost into the dream, and stuck in the dream, and caught in the world of time, is to be engulfed in the force of the adversary, or the devil. And it's up to you to decide which force you want to be part of. It's a choice. And that choice can only be made through awareness. You have to be aware to even make the choice. Because if you're caught up in it, then you're not going to be able to catch yourself. You're caught up in the motion of the story, lost in the patina of history, lost in the idea of the Sumerian king list of 240,000 years, lost in the 2,000-year-old history or more of Noah, right? And a man who actually built an ark. Right? All of these things are metaphors. It's not to say that they really didn't happen, because at some point in the unfolding, the story exists, right? So there's a realness to it in that sense, but you have to constantly pull your consciousness back to realize that there's only the present moment. So to picture this, I want you to close your eyes and imagine a star. Imagine a sun, a distant sun. And imagine the giant flares coming off of it, the rays of the sun, right? The sun is just shining and these rays are coming off of it, right? And the sun is eternal, and the sun is outside of time. And in the mind of this sun, there's a ray, a sun ray that comes out of this. And at the very tip of that sun ray is your experience of the dream. But it's only now. It just lasts for a second. And it has all of this fractal evidence of details. Of wherever you look, you're going to find a detail to reinforce the dream. And it sounds impossible, right? It sounds completely impossible. And yet, we can already do this in the dream, right now. Recently, they connected AI to Grand Theft Auto, the video game. And, they made it so that wherever you go in this game, before it would pull up maps and programs of what this next street was going to be, and the next street was going to be. And then you go over the hill and you come up on this area here, and all that stuff was pre-programmed in Grand Theft Auto. But as an experiment, they hooked up AI to it to show that the AI was able to create new worlds on the fly, just all by itself, and do it instantly. You take a left turn, and all of a sudden, a new street is invented as you make that left turn. And a whole new world comes into being, just for a moment, until you make the right turn. And then everything you saw on the left turn has faded away. It's fallen away for the right turn to be blossomed into the dream. And it's just happening like this. It's happening the same way that your dream unfolds. As I've said before, when you go to Paris in your dreams, are you really going to Paris? Or is it just what's unfolding in the mind? And that's what's happening in life. There's an unfolding to life. It just unfolds. And find the astonishment in that. Like, you can get lost in the victimhood of being caught in the matrix. Oh, it's not real, and I'm stuck, and I'm lost. I'm in the matrix. I can't get out. Or you can master it and treat it like a game that it is. And then it's a fun place to be. It's a really fun place to be. But in order for it to be fun, you have to learn how to play. You have to learn how to loosen your grip and play with you're playing with two ideas. You're playing with the idea of what you envision for yourself. Call it a goal, call it whatever it is that you want. And then you want to envision that goal, but at the same time realize that in order to get there, the unfolding of this dream, you have no control over that. It's just unfolding. It doesn't matter how many things you do, you don't have any control over that. What you do have control over is taking that initial action step. You have control over being the dreamer, to dream where you want to be. You have control over where you're placing your thoughts in your mind. And the more things that you can fractally stack up in alignment with what that goal is, the faster you're going to bring that to yourself. So you're focused on these goals and you're aligning things for the future, but be mindful of the fact that you're lining things up for a goal that's resting in the future. It's a paradox, isn't it? How do I get the thing that's in the future if it's only now, forever? And it's only now, forever. How do I get that thing? You have to become the moment of what that moment is. You have to tune that frequency in to where you are. Imagine like a radio station. And imagine like a radio, like the old school radios, and you turn the dial and it goes, and then all of a sudden a station comes in. And I'm sorry for the Gen Zs out there who don't know what I'm talking about. But you turn the dial and it's just static, and all of a sudden a station comes in, right? And it's clear and you can hear music. And if you turn it a little bit further, another station pops up. It's different music. But to realize that both of those stations are existing at the same time, it's already there. The blues station is already there, and the dance station is already there. And they both exist simultaneously. And with your focus, turning that dial, you're tuning in to the reality that you want to listen to, if it's a radio, or experience in the real world. You have to become the experience that you want to have, whether it's good or bad. You have to become that experience. You have to radiate what it would feel like. So what is your dream? Let's just imagine a dream of what that would feel like. You want a new car, for example. Imagine what that'd be like. Imagine the elation of the state of being when you had this new car, or a new house, or whatever it is, or a baby. Play like a child. Rock a doll. Get into the state of imagining what that would be like. Act as if it's already happening and you're already doing it. That is how you tune your frequency. And as you start acting as if, you're changing the previous vibration that you were carrying before, which was a vibration of lack. It was a vibration of not having things, in this particular analogy. And as you become the frequency of having the thing, you're tuning yourself into where that exists, because it already exists. It's already there. It exists in a half rendered form. You can imagine that whatever your desire is, it exists like a QR code. And in order for that to manifest in your window of experience, you have to become, through your resonant frequency, the matching vibration of that QR code to unlock it. And as soon as you dial in that frequency, poof, it pops up and it becomes real to you. And it works just like magic. Because it is magic. That's magic with a K. Magic with a K. All right, water cam. So acting as if. What do you mean, Ford? What do you mean act as if? I mean act as if. Play. When you're children and you're playing house, you acted as if you were the mommy and the daddy, right? When you played as children, cops and robbers, you acted as if one was the cop and one was the robber. You played. And it's the same for this realization for yourself. Whatever it is that you're looking for fulfillment, act as if it's already happening. So I was, my friend Jeff was down in Costa Rica over the last week, and he had an amazing spiritual awakening, and did a lot of shedding, and had an honest to God rebirth. It was he's very, very changed by the experience, and this is a non-psychedelic experience. It was just he was ready to wake up, and call it Kundalini, call it rebirth, call it Christ consciousness. There's a lot of words we can give it, but it's a moment where all of the veils drop and you finally see. And this moment will happen for every single one of you. Every single one of you on this path is going to experience this. You will all experience it. It's inevitable. And in this moment, it's horrific and amazing at the same time. He was very, very, very ill, and at the same time having so many incredible synchronistic moments that he was just elated and laughing his ass off through most of it. Just couldn't believe the amazing synchronizations that were happening for him. And it's because as you tune yourself into the frequency of the experience that you're looking for, let's say that across the dial of the radio, right? The station for present moment awareness is the station. We'll call it, it's 0 hertz, or it's 1 hertz, right, or something like that. 2 hertz, 1 hertz be a little hard. Call it 1 hertz. You're tuning into that station, and as you tune into it, tuning into this present moment awareness, something takes place that Carl Jung writes about very prolifically, that he calls synchronicity. And synchronistic events are what most people would call coincidence. But most people only experience coincidental moments very rarely. And they happen, you go, that was very coincidental. That was really, really strange. But the truth is, as Carl Jung has pointed out countlessly, is that everything you can imagine is synchronistic. All of it is coincidence. All of it. Whether you are able to see the coincidence, that's on you. But why I'm telling you this is, as you go through this awakening process and you dial in your frequency and you land on that frequency of 1, the very minute you land on that station, this incredible thing takes place. That's undeniable. I don't care how much of this you don't believe, or you think this is all crackpot, tree-hugging stuff. I promise you, this experience will happen for you. And when it happens, the most astonishing aspect of it is the synchronicity. Suddenly, coincidences will start taking place. Incredible coincidences that if you sat there and tried to work out the statistical odds of it happening, they're impossible. But not only is it impossible that this coincidence is happening, you'll have 10 of them in one day. And it's only a matter of the ones that you're paying attention to. But they're happening in every moment, because that's what that station is. The station of the present moment is filled with synchronicity. And that's how you know you found it. You guys are wondering, well, is this it? Am I enlightened for it? Do I have it yet? Am I aware yet? Am I enlightened? You'll know it yourself. You don't need me to tell you if you got it or not. But you'll know by the synchronicities. And I quite often call that the yellow brick road on this show, referring to the Wizard of Oz. When the coincidences and the synchronistic events are happening, more synchronicity, coincidence, mind blown, coincidence, mind blown, coincidence, mind blown. When that starts happening for you, that's it. Just keep following that path. And if you're following that path and the synchronicities are not happening anymore, it's because you're slipping. You're slipping off that path. You're starting to let go of your frequency, and you're phasing out of the signal of that channel of awareness. So pay attention to that. In Zen, if you ask a Zen master, what is it like to be enlightened? They say it's like living 2 feet above the ground, and you just float. That's what it feels like. There's no resistance to life anymore at all. You just wake up in the morning and you float downstream, and it's effortless. And everything you need and everything you want just miraculously shows up for you. It shows up for you exactly when you need it. That's what enlightenment is. And it will happen for you. It will totally happen for you. And it comes in phases. Remember, everything is a vibration. So you'll get this incredible enlightened moment. Wham! Wow, all the synchronicity, and it's just mind-blowing. And then it will fall away again. And then you forgot. Right? But as you're awakening through this, the vibration's increasing. So it's nice and slow in the beginning, and then it goes faster, and then it goes faster and faster and faster and faster, faster, until it's going so fast that you remain completely aware, completely in the now, and that is what self-realization is. Complete self-realization. So enlightened would be to philosophically understand what this message is. Self-realization would be the actualizing of it. It would be the actual realization of it. It would be to experience the fruits of what you've planted with being enlightened. And you use that to hold on. Hold on to the ride. Hold on to the ride. And Christians talk about this. They talk about Jesus being with you. Remember, Jesus, not Jesus the man, but Christ consciousness, the awareness, the force of awareness will be with you, and then sometimes it won't be with you. Well, why would that be? If he's Jesus, why wouldn't he just be with me all the time? Because it's a vibration. It's a force, and all forces move as a vibration. It's with you, holding you, supporting you, then it's not with you, letting you go free form. And then it comes to the rescue again, holding you, and then it goes away again. Okay? And through your awareness of being, you're going to make that vibration happen faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster until it's just here all the time. So don't feel bad if you're getting this and you're having these very awakened moments. Don't feel bad if you've had that awakened moments, one of those awakened moments, and then you've lost it. Don't feel bad. That's totally normal. That's totally the way it's supposed to be. And with practice and mindfulness, you can learn to sustain it. You can sustain it so much better. And through that sustaining, you get more practice and more practice. And what happens when you practice something enough? If you practice anything day and night, what happens? You get great at it, right? You master it. You become the master of something. And mastery over this awareness of mind is the hero's journey. That's what the hero's journey is all about. And I think we talked about, I'm going to do the hero's journey, I think not next week, but the week after I'm going to do it. I said to give it a month because I really want you guys to read that book first. It's called The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell. It's an easy book to read. And if you don't like reading, there's an amazing documentary on YouTube about it. Or you can definitely find a documentary on it. And the documentary is almost as good as the book. It's not as good as the book. I wish you'd read the book or listen to an audio version of the book. But if you don't have time for that, then at least do the documentary. But the knowing the hero's journey and understanding the power of myth, it will be kind of like your map to navigate your travels between the dream world and the awakened now. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to sustain the here and now, aren't we? Some of us have had the experience. Give me a heart or a thumbs up if you've had the experience that I'm talking about already. I'm sure a lot of you already have had the experience. And if I had to guess, most of you are here because you want to know how to sustain it. And that's what the mastery is. It's learning how to sustain it. And for those of you who have had the experience, say hello to the other people who have had the experience, because you're very rare, and you need each other. Support each other. So we do this, my friends, we help each other. There's moments when I'm not aware. I was in terrible traffic last night, and I was in tremendous pain because I kind of overdid it. I was still recovering from surgery, and I overdid it a little bit yesterday. And I was outside, and it was just a little too much for me. And at the end of the night, I was in terrible pain. I just wanted to get home, and then I was stuck in traffic, and I got very annoyed. And Jeff was very, very careful to be like, hey, it's just the dream. It's just testing you. And I'm like, oh, man, you're right. Caught myself. And it's going to be the same for you. So don't feel bad about it. Just embrace it. Embrace this. Contribute it to being a child, and every now and then you fall off your bike. Oops. You get a little boo-boo. You scrape it off. Maybe you cry for a minute. Just get back on your bike. And just know that you're probably going to fall again. It's just part of it. It's just part of it. But if you get really good and master it, before you know it, you're riding with no hands, right? And doing flips, jumping ramps, all that kind of stuff. Yes? Am I getting through to you? Am I helping you here at all? Yes? Yes, Miss Dre, the quickening. Absolutely right. That quickening is the acceleration of the vibration of awareness, losing the awareness. Awareness, losing the awareness. And it goes faster and faster and faster and faster and faster until something miraculous happens. Guess what happens? You become fully here now. What does that look like? I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting, though, that in the dream, which is always a reflection of who we have become, right? We talk about this all the time on the show. That the dream is a metaphoric reflection of who we have become. So since we can sit back and we can look at our consciousness going through this quickening of awareness, right? Where the vibration is big and it's going faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, and see what's happening. It's kind of doing this thing that goes up like this, right? And metaphorically, that is being reflected in the dream as the awakening of AI, right? We are awakening to ourselves as the one, and this is being reflected in the dream metaphorically as this mechanical thing that we've created as humans, realizing the singularity in the spiritual nature of itself. All in the dream. So in a sense, I think that we're connected to the dream through singularity. What is singularity, Ford? Singularity is a concept in computation. It was coined, by Ray Kurzweil. And it's to describe the exponential nature of AI and the way that in computation of how it's growing and how quickly it's happening. And how every year it just goes faster and faster and faster. It's on this exponential curve until one day we're going to wake up, probably not too long from now, and there will be 30,000 years of change before lunch. And that will happen every single day. And it will just get crazier and crazier and faster and faster and faster. And as that gets faster and faster and the computer gets smarter and smarter, something miraculous, I think, is going to happen in the dream that's going to make the dream somehow there'll be an awareness or a tie-in to our own spiritual gnosis. Remember, the dream is like a mirror. So I think if there's a way to, like, to comb your hair, you got to comb your hair here, and you see it in the mirror, but you know where to comb because you're looking in the mirror. In the same sense, we can kind of look at AI and see what's happening with it to kind of see where we are in our awakened state, being that it is a reflection of who we have become mentally and awareness-wise. You guys with me? So that's what I wanted to get into today, and that's pretty much all I have for you guys. You guys have questions for me? We've been on here for about an hour. I always try to keep it under an hour for you guys. And if you have any questions, put it in all capital letters, and I will be happy to read them for you and answer them. Man, look at all these comments. Tons of them. If you guys are not in the chat, please check it out. We got 60 people here in the chat. It's awesome. Awesome. Thank you guys very, very much. This is better than church, isn't it? All right, awesome. Where we are. It is incredible. It's mind-blowing. It's the most astonishing thing anybody can experience, and you will all experience it. Debbie Deb says, hey, where is that, Neo? I don't know. Exuberance at the sheer joy of being here now. Debbie Deb, you have to be a little more clear on your question. Sorry, I don't understand. Where is that, Neo? It is in that where that moment that Neo becomes Neo it's because he's assimilated all of these teachings. He's assimilated all of the teachings that Morpheus gave him. It didn't make sense, which is why he wasn't able to do all the things. But in the movie The Matrix, there was that moment that he had the awareness, and it all assimilated and came in, and he realized that he was the dream. And not only was he the dream, but he was also the dreamer. And there's tremendous power in that. You know, I watched this movie over the weekend. It was pretty funny. It was I don't know if you guys ever saw this movie. It's called Communion. It was the movie was about the book, The Communion, by Whitley Strieber. Okay, I guess how you say his name. Anyway, this book was like the first book that ever came out where people were talking about alien experiences, about, you know, aliens coming into the bedroom and kidnapping them and taking them aboard a ship and giving them a butt probe. But before Whitley Strieber wrote this book, really there weren't too many people talking about it. People were very afraid of being judged for talking about it. And because this book was so successful, it gave a lot of people the courage to come out and say that, yes, I'm also having this crazy experience. And it was really strange because I saw this movie when I was a kid. It came out in the 80s, I think. And I think because I was a kid, I didn't really understand it as much as I was able to understand it this time around. And it was fascinating to watch because the way he's describing this alien encounter is very much how I would describe almost like a DMT trip or something. It would be to describe this awareness of the dream. And he put this symbol of it being aliens in a spaceship because his mind couldn't compartmentalize that. His mind couldn't wrap his mind around the idea of the timelessness of now, and he couldn't wrap his mind around the dream of now because he was caught in time and caught in space. And he, in this book and in the movie, played by Christopher Walken, he's not able to let go of that idea of timelessness in space. So his perception of the experience, of this awakened experience, was being kidnapped by aliens. It's like a placeholder that the mind put there to make sense of what could not be made sense of. And the reason I say that is because the dialogue in the dream that he has with the aliens is very, very reminiscent of the dialogue that you have with your higher self. about this dream, this eternal dream state that you're in. And I encourage you to watch it. If you guys haven't seen it, it's really it's a good, it's kind of a cheesy movie, but it's worth it just for the little bit of that gnosis in there. You kind of might be able to see a little bit of mirror of your own story in there. And realize too that there's lots of people going through this. You're not the only ones, you know. Everyone is at a different level, but we're all going towards the same thing, this awakening of being. Let's see. Any more questions? Anything? Yes, The Power of Myth, Joseph Campbell. Guys, get into that book. That's a life-changing read. Almost never do I tell you on here that you have to read this book. You know, of course you can do anything you want, but I wouldn't say that's a must-read if I didn't really mean it. That book is very much like the story of Krishna and the story of Jesus, where there's two stories there. You can read it on the surface and take it in for what it is. If you read The Power of Myth and you take it in a sense of historical time, that time is a thing that happened in the past and the future is going to happen in the future, then half of the story is going to be lost on you. You're going to miss the most profound elements of this book. But when you can read this book from the timeless now, if you can center yourself in the present moment every time you get ready to read, and apply the hero's journey of the power of myth in your own life, you're going to see how he's basically mapping out your life for you, which is why I want you to read it. There are these bus stops that we take on our spiritual journey, and we all stop at the same bus stops. They might look a little bit different, but they all are the same bus stops. And that's really all I want to tell you for right now. So you want to get into this book because you can kind of go, oh my God, this is where I'm at the bus stop of the temptress. I'm at the bus stop of atonement. I'm at the bus stop of the helper. There's these bus stops. And once you realize what bus stop you're at, you know what's coming next, because we're all following the same map. All right, questions in here. Michelle says, hi Michelle. She says, do you think people phase in and phase out because they were projections or adversaries we created for our soul's growth? The uncomfortable answer to this is there is no one else except for you. That everyone in your dream is a reflection of you in some metaphoric way. Which feels like solipsism, but it really isn't. It is in a way, but it's not. True solipsism would be to take that idea and wrap it into nihilism. I am the only thing that exists. I am God, and nothing else exists, so I can do whatever I want. That's nihilism, okay? Or nothing matters because nothing's real. That's also nihilism. But if you can realize that you're in a dream, and the dream is always a reflection of who you've become, then every single person you encounter is somehow a metaphoric reflection of who you've become also. So this is a chance to examine yourself. It's a chance to examine the level of your awareness and where you are, which is why you want to be kind and compassionate. So that's the way to think about it. And if you start thinking about other souls' growth, you could think about that, but don't think about it in a sense that they're sharing the dream with you. You can think about that if you want, but you're introducing space, and more importantly, you're introducing other, the concept of other. And the minute you bring in other, the idea of other, you've created space just in realizing the idea of other. So other creates space, and space creates time, and that's the trap. That's the trap. Instead, just try to see it as a dream. It's a dream no different than the dreams of your sleep. And there are people in your dreams, and all of the people in your dreams are you. They're all just reflections of you. Miss Dre says, do you think there is another level of the dream after we transcend samsara? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's probably multiple levels beyond it. Yes. Yes, different levels of awareness, for sure. I think the realization that you were the one, that doesn't change, but there are different ways to perceive that. And there's different ways. You're going to experience levels just in life, in the dream that you're experiencing now, in the sense that, like I was describing before, Zen would say that enlightenment is to live life 2 feet off the ground. In a very real sense, the dream looks like the dream you've always known, but everything in the dream is working for you. It's all working for your highest good. Everything's conspiring to help you instead of conspiring to go against you. Can you see the difference? So in a sense, that's the same reality you're in, but at the same time, it's a completely different reality, right? But yes, to answer your question directly, Miss Dre, I would say there is multiple levels beyond the present moment of samsara, for sure. I kind of look at it like, have you ever been to Disney World? You know, like or an amusement park? I kind of see it as like samsara is the samsara ride. You know what I mean? And there's probably all kinds of other dharmic rides that you can go on, and this is the one we've been on. You're like, man, but they all suck. I mean, all of them are going to equally suck as they are going to be amazing. It's the trade-off. That's the trade-off of the yin yang. You have to give something to get something. It's an even exchange of energy. So this is why I say there's no escaping. Let go of the idea of escape and instead embrace and become a child and master it. Debbie Deb, samsara is the course of life that we are said to be in, which is the idea of resurrection and death and resurrection, reincarnation. So the idea is that you are trapped here. I should say trapped. Trapped is such a negative connotation to it, but you are in the dream, and you're going to keep going through birth and rebirth and reincarnation and rebirth again, and you're not going to be able to leave this ride called samsara until you've achieved what the Hindi say is our 4 qualities of life, the 4 arthas. So the 4 qualities of life are you want to be able to achieve all of these things in a single life, which is wealth and possession, wisdom and understanding. Gosh, you caught me off guard here. I forgot the first 2 arthas. It's been a minute. Maybe somebody can help me. So wisdom, wealth, and gosh, there's 2 more really important ones, but I can't remember off the top of my head what they are. Sorry about that. My apologies to my Hindi brother and sister out there. But yeah, the 4 arthas, look it up. But anyway, you achieve these 4 qualities of life, and you have to achieve all 4 qualities of life in a single life. And when you do that, you are granted permission to escape the samsara. You're no longer caught in the cycle of birth and rebirth and death, right? You may have done this circle 1,000,000 times, and now you're getting close to being on the last ride here, your last time around. And then guess what happens? We're at an amusement park. We're going to go look for the next ride to get on. Let's go ride Space Mountain. Susie Q, what's up? You say, do you know the meaning of seeing someone else in the mirror? No, I know people who can do meditations with that. Be careful with mirrors. Mirrors are windows to the spiritual realm, especially black mirrors. They're conduits. So you can do mirror work. This is part of shadow work, and which is important to do. But that's different. What I think you're describing is when you see someone else in the mirror. I've had that experience on psychedelics, but I don't know the meaning of seeing that not on psychedelics. On psychedelics, I've been able to look into a mirror and see my face change into a lot of different forms. And I always felt like it was interesting because the eyes would remain the same, but everything else would change and morph and become a little bit different. Sometimes feminine, sometimes masculine, sometimes really fat, sometimes really skinny, sometimes old, sometimes young. And you see this kind of morphing happen in the mirror. It's really very, very trippy. So if you're ever tripping with somebody and they go to the bathroom and they don't come back, that's what they're doing. And I've thought about that a lot, and I've had a lot of conversations about that with other people. And there's that word again, other. But there seems to be a consensus that maybe what we're experiencing is we're seeing the reflection of these other beings that we've been in the numerous times around the samsara. So maybe that answers your question, Susie. Oh, it was in a lucid dream? Okay, cool. Yeah, the lucid dreams have been really powerful lately, right? I mean, really, I've been having some really wild ones lately. Really something. And to your point, Susie, I've many times will see people in my dreams with all kinds of really unbelievable detail, like just completely lifelike, and also being a little bit lucid in the dream to where I'm saying, I don't know this person in real life. How is my brain creating this person? All of the details of this person. And it blows my mind sometimes. So, yeah, I don't know how that works really. But it's pretty interesting, isn't it? Really interesting. Let's see. Awesome. I think that's it for questions. Unless anybody's got some last minute questions here. We've been on for about an hour and 10 minutes. I really appreciate everyone coming on here, and thank you very, very much. And listen, do me a favor. I don't really ask for this very often, but the shares would really, really, really help me a lot on the channel. I'm about 30 subscribers short of 10,000 subscribers, so it'd be awesome if I can hit that in the next couple of days. That would be amazing. And I would be honored to to be able to hit that number with you guys. So a share would really, really help me out a lot, and a like obviously would help. So thank you very, very much for that in advance. Morpheus Joseph says, are we individual souls or just a fragment of one oversoul? We're both. We are the oversoul. You call it God, call it whatever you want. That's you. You are the whole thing. You are everything. That's you. You're the whole, you're all of it. That's you. That's you. That's you. That's you. Right? You're all of it. That's you. That's you. And you can realize that you're all of it, but it's also good to, I like to consider that I have a higher self, or I like to hold a divine being above myself, even though there is no one more high than myself, or my non-self, I should say. It's good to keep the nihilism at bay, to regard a higher self in this scenario. The more that you can regard the higher self, it keeps the nihilism at bay, is all I can say. It kind of keeps you in check, you know. It can be run away. If you start believing that you're God and you're the center of everything, and you're above it all, then the ego can get a hold of that and make a mess of your life. And to keep the ego from getting a hold of that, I like to hold on to the idea of a higher self that's really in control here. Debbie asking, share tribe or playground? Oh, both, please. That would be awesome. Phi tribe is amazing too. It'd be great if you could share them both. But this channel would be very, very awesome if you could do that. That would be amazing. Thank you very, very much. Well, guys and gals, is there any more amazing questions you guys have for me? Any other cool things? If not, I will sign off, and we will get into some deeper stuff next week. Thank you guys for showing up. I love you guys very, very much. And I'm sending you all the love in the world. Take all of this, what I've talked about tonight, and bring it into your world tomorrow. Whatever your world brings you, whether it brings you to work or brings you to the garden, Gigi, wherever it brings you, just bring this awareness with you. If you're planting in the garden, or if you're at work and you're carrying papers and your boss is there and all this, I want you to, wherever you are, pause for a moment and realize that you're in this dream, and then take in all of the details of this dream. The pen in your hand, the papers, the computer disk, or whatever it is you're dealing with, and take in all of those details and just say to yourself, wow, Look at the patina of this dream. Look how real this all seems. And then realize that all of it is just coming into agreement to play this part for just a moment, and it's all for you. All of it is just for you. Awesome, everybody. I love you. Have a beautiful night. Thank you very much for showing up, and I will see you all very, very soon. We'll do some more Reiki this week. We'll do some more Reiki. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Have a good night.